It's your girl Tatiana. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get this video started, you guys, make sure you go subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up and smash that like button. And definitely make sure you guys turn on post notification, which is the little bell right next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified every single time I upload a new video. So by the title of this video, you guys know that I want to talk about my birth experience. If you're new here, then this is your first time hearing that I do have 3 babies, 3 girls. But if you've been a part of my channel for a little while, then you already knew that I was a mom of 3. But today I want to share the experience from all 3 pregnancies that meant the most to me. Because really from the beginning of my pregnancy to the very end, it's like I experienced something that was so new from my first and from my second. But before we get fully into the video, you guys know I gotta hit you with the verse of the day. So the verse of the day is coming to you from Philippians chapter 1 verse 6, and it says, "And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." So basically, when I was listening to that, I just felt like that meant that if God gave you a word, if God said he was going to do something for you, like he's going to do it. And if he gave it to you, if he said it to you, like it's going to happen. You just got to wait for it to happen on his time. And for me, that's something that I have to continue to tell myself over and over again at times, like, girl, like, your time is not better than God's time. So just let God do whatever he's gonna do, okay? So God's amazing. I get some do this in your life. But let's go ahead and get into this video. So as I mentioned, I am a mom of 3, but the experience, even though all of them mean so much to me, the experience that stuck out to me the most and the pregnancy that stuck out the most was my 3rd pregnancy, which is my baby 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁𝐄. She actually turned 11 months yesterday, March 1st. Today is March 3rd. So, or no, yesterday. Yeah, today is March 2nd. So the fact that time has went by so fast, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe that I'm getting ready to have a 1-year-old all over again. But from the moment that I was pregnant, I've been very transparent about this on social media, from Instagram to TikTok. I've been transparent about it on my family channel. So if you are into family content and you want to get to know my family more, and me more on a mom/family level, definitely go subscribe to our family channel, the Trejo family. The link will be in the description below. But when I first was pregnant with my 3rd child, it could not have happened at a worse time. And I know, you guys, like, that sounds so terrible to say, but seriously, like, when I found out that I was pregnant, it was when we first moved out here to Houston, and we were supposed to be moving into a home, and that home fell through, which we did not find out about that until we already packed up and moved our whole entire lives out here. So it's not like we could just run back to where we came from. So with that being said, we ended up having to live in hotels. We had to stay in Airbnbs because it was just so hard to find a home that we were actually able to buy, and we were so adamant about doing that. Looking back, my husband and I had already talked about it. Like, if we could have, we really would have just got an apartment. And sometimes you have to like pay attention to the signs that God is showing you, but that's a whole nother story. We didn't do that. There's no sense of like looking back and talking about what we should have or could have done. So I found out that I was pregnant with her staying in a hotel. Okay, so that in itself was just like a terrible feeling as a mother, to feel like you are putting your children in a specific situation that they don't deserve to be in, number 1, and number 2, you're getting ready to like add another baby to that. On top of that, we were in the middle of like transferring our insurance, and like I said, we had moved and packed up everything to a whole nother state, and so things were delaying, and it was just taking so long for things to happen. So I didn't have insurance, like it was hard to find a doctor, and like all these negative thoughts were like forming in my head, like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna have a doctor, I don't know how far along pregnant I am. Like, it was just so like nerve-wracking. So from the very beginning, the pregnancy had like an impact on my life. Fast forward to throughout the pregnancy, I had a lot of like lower stomach pain. I had a lot of fire crotch. If you don't know what that is, like, fire crotch is exactly what it sounds like. Your cooch is on fire. Like, it's not a good feeling. You stand up, you feel sharp pains, like it's just a terrible feeling. So I felt like I was in a lot of uncomfortable pain that I did not experience with my first or my second. She carried very low from the very beginning, which is why I kind of thought that I was having a boy, because my stomach looked lower, and I thought that boys were lower. Comment below if you are a boy mom or if you're a girl mom. Did people tell you that if you were having a girl that your stomach would be round, or did they say if you were having a boy your stomach would be round? Like, I feel like people say different things, and that in itself is like kind of frustrating. Like, don't tell people what you think they're going to have, especially if you tell them the gender that they actually want, and then they, you know, get high hopes this whole entire time because you're telling them, oh, your stomach looks low, oh, your stomach looks round, so it's a girl, oh, your stomach is low, so it's a boy. Like, don't say things like that to people, because you're getting their hopes up high that it's going to be what you said because of the way their stomach looks, and it doesn't always turn out like that. So I really thought that I was having a boy, but it was just a lot of uncomfortableness in my third pregnancy. So I ended up reaching about 39 months, and with the other two girls, 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁𝐄 and 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁, I delivered like around 37 weeks. I don't know if I just said months. 39 weeks. I delivered around 37, like 38 weeks with 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁𝐄 and 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁. So I was starting to get a tad bit frustrated, but I was not gonna like rush her to come out. Although I did go to the doctor, and I was also getting so irritated with like going to the doctor every single week, because I live like 35 minutes away from the doctor's office that I had to go to. I had to pay for parking every single time. I was going every week, and it was just like giving too much. Like, if I'm not having complications, if I don't feel like she's coming, I'm not going to keep coming to this doctor's office. Like, that was where my head was at. I was so irritated with it. On top of waiting like freaking 2 hours to even, you know, well, not necessarily 2 hours, but that's what it feels like, waiting a damn near an hour, sometimes 2 hours to even get seen. Like, waiting dang near an hour, sometimes 2 hours to get seen, and then you're gone from your house for 3-4 hours because you live so far. Like, I just was over it. I was over it. So around my 39th, well, actually I was 39 weeks and counting, I asked my doctor in my head, I was going to this doctor's office to tell her I'm not coming back. I really would appreciate if you guys can like induce me if I don't go into labor over the week, because my water broke with my first and my second. I said, if my water doesn't break, if I don't go into labor, can you guys please induce me on Monday? And see, this is where you have to be careful with the things that you ask for, because I was not prepared when I went to the doctor that day for them to tell me you need to go straight to the hospital right now. They didn't even say you go home, pack your bags, and tonight go to the hospital. They said your fluid is getting lower and we need to get this baby out, so you need to go to the hospital right now. And like, I was not prepared for that. Like, I was nervous. I wanted to have her, you know, over the weekend or by Monday at least. I was prepared to be induced, even though I never had that happen. So that's another reason why this pregnancy is like very meaningful to me. Like, even, of course, like this, when I say meaningful, I want for you guys to know like all of my pregnancies are meaningful. But again, I'm talking about the one that has the most impact on me, giving circumstance. So because I had to be induced with this one is stuck more in my memory because my water broke. I went through the normal process with my first and my second. So yeah, they're like, you have to go to the hospital. Like right now, you have to go get a COVID test. And luckily, thank God, my mom was in town, because had she not been in town yet, I don't know what I would have done with my kids. Well, obviously they would have been with my husband, but that means that I would have been at the hospital by myself. And like, for the women who have had to go through that, like, I feel for you. Like, for the women who are gonna have to go through that, I feel for you, because I would not, you know, want to be alone. So thank God that I wasn't. But I told them, like, I'm not going to the hospital right now. I have to go get my husband. I have to go get my bag, which was not even packed, you guys. So just a little advice, like have a little bag packed at least at least the month that you're supposed to give birth, because you just never know what's gonna happen. And I did not have my bag packed. So I was like, yeah, I cannot go to the hospital and get my COVID test right now. Like, they had already called the hospital and told the hospital, because it was right across the street, that I was on my way right then and there. So I ended up going home. I went to go grab my husband, which poor him, like, I feel like every single time he's been like in one of the worst positions ever for me to be having a baby. Like the first time, well, actually the first time was a little bit more decent, but he was working nights, and so he was kind of like up all night type of thing and still had to be up with me, sleeping here and there. The second time he had to leave work, and then this third time he literally had just got off work and like fell asleep maybe like an hour or 2 hours before. So he was really tired, but you gotta do what you have to do. So I went to go get him. We went to the hospital. I had to get a COVID test, which is another reason why this is really significant, because with my first two I did not. And I had to get a COVID test, and when I tell you they stuck that freaking thing so far up my nose, I remember like pushing the lady away, like a natural reaction, like a natural reflex. Like it was so freaking far. But Matt did not have to get a COVID test. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, he's gonna be in there too. Like, I'm expecting for him to have to get one too, and he didn't. So they induced me, and I don't know if being induced is different in different places, but for me, I got induced by taking some type of pill. And so once I took the pill, I laid in the bed, and I was kind of just like confined to, well, maybe not confined, but I had to stay in the bed. The pill eventually kicked in at some time. I started feeling contractions, and that was different because I would start feeling contractions with my first and second, and that's how I knew that I was going into labor. I kind of just had to lay there and let the pill digest and see what was going to end up happening. Another reason why this pregnancy sticks out to me the most is because of the epidural. So with the first and the second epidural that I got, when I say that thing numbed me from the waist down, I didn't feel anything. I was knocked out. I was able to sleep. Like, it was one of the most easiest processes of labor once I got the epidural. Like, it was a breeze, no issues at all. With this epidural, first of all, they said that my husband had to leave. And I'm like, why does he have to leave? This makes no sense. And they talked about for sterile reasons. But you guys don't have him wearing a mask. You guys didn't give him a COVID test. Like, you guys are talking about things that are supposed to be safe, but none of these things happened before. And he's been in here with me the whole entire time. You guys have been coming in here like everything's been fine, but now he has to leave. So that had me a little nervous, obviously, because I just feel like, I mean, we can be real on this channel. I'm gonna be real on this channel. The hospital for Black women, especially during pregnancy and labor, is what cops are to Black people, Black men, Black skinned people in general, colored skinned people in general. And I just was nervous because I didn't understand why they were having him leave. And when I tell you guys that epidural felt like it was sending electric volts up my back, I never with my first and second experienced that. I understand the sting of a needle, but I was being shocked by this epidural. Again, I don't know what kind of epidural this was, but I had to tell them something shooting up my back, and it's like shocking me. So that was an experience that I'm just like, okay, I'd never in my life had. And not only that, they didn't numb anything. So I still was feeling the contractions. When it came time for me to push, I asked them, why is this epidural not kicking in? And the lady said, well, it's not supposed to numb you from feeling the contractions. It's just supposed to make it easier for you to push. And when I tell you, I looked at her with the look of confusion, because I don't know what epidural you guys gave me, but the other two epidurals that I've ever had in my life, I was numb, sis, to the point to where I could not walk to my room, even though I know everyone has to sit inside the wheelchair, but I could not feel my legs. Like, my leg fell over during my second labor and I did not even feel it. So it's like, no, it was supposed to numb me. So when I say I felt the ring of fire the whole time I was pushing, it's like, I wonder what it feels like to not have an epidural. Comment below if you were a mother in delivery who chose not to get an epidural, or if you are going to be a mom who's getting ready to deliver sometime this year, who plans to not get an epidural and just do it all natural. Like, I wonder what it feels like, because they told me that I had to push through contractions. Like, every time I felt a contraction, I had to push. So it was very much so kind of difficult, but I knew that I had no other way and I had to get her out. So I pushed with all my might, and I'm just glad that it was not worse than what it was. But I was in what I consider to be a lot of pain compared to my first two. Like, on a pain level of 1 to 10 after having the baby, my pain level was probably at like a 7. Like, I was very sore. It hurt to like even walk to the bathroom. I had to move very slowly. And it was just very much so like more of a painful afterbirth versus the first 2 times. I felt just fine after I had the baby. And so pregnancy and delivery for my third one, although it was not the worst, I'm sure, that it could ever be, it still like put a lot of like pressure on my body, and honestly made me feel like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Like, that was the pregnancy that, for me, they say every pregnancy is different. That one was definitely different. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. Like I said, I'm a mom of 3. She is getting ready to be 1, and we always said that we were not just going to keep having children or, you know, having babies until we, you know, get the boy, because on the 4th, if we do decide it could be a girl, but there's like a little piece of me that sort of kind of maybe wants to try again. I don't know, you guys. Comment below, let me know, do you think I should go for the boy after having 3 girls, or should I just sit it down and just take it as a sign from God that I'm not supposed to be a boy mom? I don't know, you guys gotta stick around and see, so make sure you are subscribed with that notification bell turned on so you don't miss if I ever upload that announcement. But that's going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my birth story for the pregnancy and birth experience that is the most significant and has the most memories for me. If you haven't done this yet, make sure you go subscribe, turn on the notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up and smash that like button. Until next time, sis, peace.